Hello everyone, welcome to the All Treatment Corner. I'm Little Wolf. Today I am going to be going over the history of therianthropy. I think it's important that if you're a therian, you gotta know the history of it, right? So I'm gonna be covering that. So you may now call me Miss Wolf because I am now your teacher. And I am going to be telling you guys the history of therianthropy. I have been needing to do an informative and educational podcast or episode for a while, so here I am. So the first thing I want to cover is what is therianthropy? Basically, therianthropy is having animalistic feelings or urges on a non-physical level, and maybe you have shifts. We wear gear, so that's kind of it. So I'm going to be going through the history of therianthropy. Therianthropy basically refers to fantasy or mythological ability of some humans to change into animals. Therianthropes are said to change forms with shape-shifting. Shape-shifting was in mythology. It's no longer in mythology, but this is something that they thought, which was like human shape-shifting. Lycanthropy, the transformation of a human into a werewolf, is probably the best known of therianthropy, followed by synanthropy, transformation into a dog, and so on and so forth. So we've got therianthropy, and in mythology, they would see this as lycanthropy, and they would see this as wolves shapeshifting, dogs shapeshifting, so on and so forth. The term existed at least 1901 when it applied to stories from China about humans turning into dogs, dogs becoming people, and so on and so forth. Animal ancestor stories of humans descending from animals are found in the oral traditions of many tribal and clan origins. So you have all these stories in mythology, and now you have these stories in these clans and these tribes that humans descending from animals. And I will say that we are known to be very close with monkeys, so there we go. So now I want to get into the great big howl. What is a howl? Is what you're probably wondering if you're a human just watching this. A howl is a planned gathering for therians in real life. Most howls are held outdoors, form of campouts. A howl is basically where a bunch of therians get together, both therians and non-therians, so they can just get together and hang out and stuff, and it's called a howl when you're just outside. Maybe you are howling. I don't know, but this is just what you're doing. It's kind of like a therian hangout. Maybe you're camping out there for the night. It's kind of just what they did. And the Great Big Howl is the most known one. And this is like the history. So to be honest, y'all, there's not a lot of history on therians, but to say the least, I haven't really found any videos on this topic, so here I am to say this. So you have the Harvest Howl, which was in November 1994. So there were a group of therians that got together It says here the first howl, the 1994 Harvest Howl, it's called the Harvest Howl, was organized by Smash Grey Wolf in Ohio. Howl is basically a group of therians who gathering for therians and non-therians to get together, and they wanted to get to know one another, and howl at the moon, leap over the bonfires, and they camped out in the woods as far as civilization as possible, watching the full moon dance over shimmering heat waves from bonfire, surrounded by folks of like mind. It's truly a recharge for batteries drained by mundane human existence. Here is where you need to listen up. Okay, listen up. The first howl was in November of 1994. It was held at Valley Lake Campground in Ohio. The site was chosen because it had special tie to that land, and the actual site of the campfire was a spot I picked because of a vision I had while in sleep meditation. The picture was taken from a video, I believe, by Kathmandu while he converted around the campfire at the moonlight. They hosted their second howl on Easter weekend of April in 1995, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So since they hosted this howl, this great this great big ol' howl in November, us Therians like to celebrate something. This is an unofficial day, but we celebrate Therianthropy Day. This is a day for us to celebrate us being Therians because this was when the first howl happened on the first full moon of November. So if you're a new or younger Therian, check out the date for this year. You can always just look it up. But this is something that we like to celebrate. You can't do anything in particular, but this is the history and this is why we celebrate it. This is just kind of how it fell. So, Therianthropy Day is an unofficial day for celebrating modern therianthropy. It is celebrated on the first full moon in November. It embraces the first howl organized in 1994 by members of the alt horror werewolves unset group. Therianthropy Day is not to be confused with the wolf and nut infant name internet meme. See controversies below. Therianthropy Day is also separate from other Day, which falls on the 9th of July. So basically, here's the history on this Therianthropy Day. The first full moon in November has suggested sort of de facto Therianthropy Day since the mid-1990s. It was on the weekend of November 19 and 20, 1994, that the first official alt horror werewolves howl theory meetup was held. So November 7th, 1993 is the day that a bat-identified person began to talk about his dreams of being a bat and felt like a bat on alt horror werewolves. This discussion considered at a starting point of modern therianthropy and online community. Alt horror werewolves created a year earlier, November 16th, 1992. So November is a significant month to us historically. So historically, this is a very important month towards us Therians because we have that starting of the month and it's the howl. And you just celebrate the day. It's just, to me, I think, it's about me. It's for me to celebrate myself and for me to maybe do some skincare or do something for me that I love and that I want. It's very historical and it's very important. Therians Day is celebrated on the first full moon of November. As the Therian community, it is not centralized. There is no official correct way to celebrate Therian Day. However, the day can serve as many purposes. Therian Day is acknowledgement of our history. The day is meant to be fun and lighthearted. It is meant to be fun, and let's have a party and let's do this and that. It's really, really fun. Many support this day in hopes that it can synchronize the online community and bring it together despite it being spread out across various social media platforms. What I like to do is I like to find my friends that know that I'm a Therian, and I'll say Happy Therian Day, and they will say it right back to me. And it's one thing that I like to do is I can share this with my friends. It is supposed to be just letting them know that this is an unofficial day. Just letting them know that is kind of important because they're not going to know that. They're not going to go and do all this research. So it's really, really fun to do that too. And some people think that pride is Therian related. No, it is not. It is not Therian related. And during Pride Month, they want to consider Therians with pride, but it really just it doesn't. It doesn't. It's so controversial in the community, but it doesn't. And Thorn Therian Territory has a video on that, and they call it Therian Pride. I think that you can be a Therian and be LGBTQ. You can be LGBTQ and be a Therian and so on and so forth, but they are not the same. Sorry. This is Therianthropy Day, and this is our history that I'm sharing on here with the world. And if you're a Therian and you do not know this, or you didn't know this, I am Miss Wolf, and I just taught you that. That's all for today's podcast. Bye, guys.